What's about what do you think about dubstep music? It's coming.
I like the origins of dubstep. I think when what was that American guy who?
Skrillex, yeah.
Yeah, I think when he's that's the trouble with sort of like Coca-Cola. Suddenly dubstep became Skrillex, and everybody just wanted the music that had all those sharp, conflicting things, and it became a bit of a cartoon of itself, a bit of a parody, and somehow that was its end for me. I know people are still making some dubstep music, which is more truer to the roots of dubstep. But I think everyone just got on the bandwagon, and everybody was making, because everybody, I don't know how people make that sort of music. I've tried myself, but there must be a way to do it, which is quite, if you've got the technology, then, because I was getting DJ promos and I was just going, so many of them, and it was like, sounds great, but there's nothing in it. There's no music in it. There's just no music, no musical content. It was just like a lot of technical ability, but if that was what I've been into, I'd have stayed at school and done chemistry or something, or electronics, But it wasn't. It's, I like a groove where, the bass, something in it moves me, and it captivates something inside of me and makes me feel something. I'm not saying it has to be musical, but music can be musical without being musical, if you know what I mean. Something, I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but I'm sure dubstep is still, thriving in its own areas, but I think it's probably better that it went back underground, because it was, it just became a bit of cornflakes. It was on cornflakes adverts just about, and when you think about where it came from, you kind of thought, well, I didn't think that's what it was about. It was about late night raves where the music got really dopey, but up tempo. It was sort of up tempo but dopey, Yeah, it was dark. It was dark music. Dark music with
maximum 500 people, DJ,
yeah, it was dark, but it was shining a light. There was something about it. I loved it. I did get into a lot of dubstep, and I used to play quite a bit of it, but I just think it became corporateized, a bit like what happened to hip hop.
Yes. Well, about hip hop, what do you think about this grime new artist in UK?
Grime. Yeah, well, Grime's been going a long time. That's just the evolution of MCing in the UK, really. I mean, because rap music wasn't, started in New York, so really the only way that anything based around rap music was going to work in the UK was really when it became something of its own. And so a lot of the MCs really, they were born out of reggae jams, people going to a reggae dance and the MC in there, from guys who was chatting at reggae dances, the way people chatted on reggae records, which in a way is where rap music come from, because that sort of chatting that started in Jamaica, okay, the Last Poets were doing their thing at the same time, but that went to America, and in a way I think that sort of influence, because Kool Herc, he was from the Caribbean as well, I think. Well, he was one of the founders of the whole movement, and I think there was a lot of influence from the way that the guys in DJ'd in Jamaica, the toasting, you know, the DJing, the way they talked on records. It was a revolutionary idea, really, you know, the way they did it, and that really, because there was a large West Indian population in the UK, especially in London. A lot of the dances would be your dancehall music, and that's where a lot of the MCs started off learning the ropes, was DJing in that style, like Roots Maneuver, you know. Well, I mean, that's a bit of a lowest common denominator, but yeah, but I mean, there was a lot more, you know, like Aswad, you know, I mean, when they started out, they were hardcore roots, dub, vicious dub that they made. You know, I mean, it was only much later that they became very commercial, but if you listen back to their early music, that's pretty hardcore reggae music, you know, really good music. And a lot of the music was very socially orientated, about social commentary, you know, because films were made by those guys about life in London, what it was like for Caribbean people living in London with the racism and the police brutality, you know, so it was all hand in hand, really. And that was how MCing was born in London, really. It was influenced by rap music, and a lot of people tried to copy rap music and be like American MCs, but it just didn't wash, right? You know, those people only had very short lifespan. You know, people really had to go through the English network of how English music was evolving through house music, rap music, dub music, reggae music, which started moving into drum and bass, which is where a lot of MCs and garage, right? A lot of the MCs went into, you know, it's just the way the dancers were going, you know, and so the MCs would just evolve, and like as drum and bass was really hitting hard, so a lot of the MCs would be going on drum and bass sets, and then garage was hitting hard, so some MCs would go to the garage nights and MC there, and house nights too, you know, and then dubstep nights, you know, and that led to grime. And grime really is just a reflection of inner city youth in London as an evolution from those musics, from garage, drum and bass, hip hop, reggae, dub. It's an evolution from all of that music, and it's a reflection of the youth saying what they think, rhyming how they rhyme, in a much newer style, you know, on that sort of music, on really where guys with very little, how can I put it, resources, yeah, they have very little resources except for possibly their gaming machines, yeah, their, you know, whatever game they got at home, computer games. A lot of these guys figured out that they can actually use them to make music, yeah? Because we had some guys down our studio who made their tracks like that with their game console, yeah? And they just said, yeah, I done a tune like this, we can make beat like that, and da-da-da-da-da. And they make very fundamental music, but that's what gave their music its style and made the music what it is. It was another unique twist. A bit like the way that reggae music, when a lot of reggae music started to becoming electronic, and they started using that bass line sound. It was like everybody started using it, and it was a really cheap, you know, because nobody would have used that synth, right? But it was a really wicked sound, you know what I mean? A lot of the, you know, and the same thing, you know, like, people just like we're going, well, we make our own music because no one else is going to make the music that we want to make, you know, and that's how music is. The same as punk rock, you know, it was like, why did punks make that sort of music? Because nobody was making the music that they wanted to make, that had the energy, Yeah, you know, so these guys, they have no resources, a lot of these guys. You're talking about, mainly inner city youth, yeah? And in really, I guess what you'd call the ghettos of London, if you like. To at least the conception of the music, at least. Because like I say, I know some people who make it, and that's really where it's coming. It's coming from the street, street music. And street music is always born out of hardship. It's like you've got to make something out of what you got. And it makes you become inventive. And that is how invention happens, you see.